Welcome to episode 21 of the Pack Homer Podcast, brought to you by Waters and Mathis CPAs. If you want to run rule the IRS, visit WMCPAs.com. My buddy at Waters and Mathis the other day said he ain't getting a whole lot of traffic from his advertising yet, so he's waiting on y'all to log in. I know it's, or give him a dial. I know it's getting close to tax season. We're a long way from tax season, but hopefully as we get closer, you'll visit WMCPAs.com. All right, Wolfpack in Omaha, Kentucky Wildcats on Saturday at 1 p.m. local. Is that correct, Adam? I think we got a little confused because it was 2 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Local Omaha time. All three of us will be there. Hope to run into some of you. We hope we can run by Rocco's and have a few Jello shots. Before we get started talking too much about the Kentucky Wildcats tonight, though, I want to talk briefly about our 2021 visit to Omaha because it deserves a little more conversation. We haven't discussed it very much this year, and the 2014 does have our attention and admiration. But since Coach Avent has basically come out and said we got screwed, I think we need to at least entertain it for a couple of minutes. So, thoughts. I'm going to start with Mr. Litch. I know he's got some thoughts on on 2021.
You hit me up blindly on this. I was talking to a visitor that we had today in our office who actually played baseball at Auburn and was kind of recapping to him what happened back in 2021, and Coach Avent described it the other night in his post-game press conference or post-game on-field interview, I guess, and called it a travesty. And I made the comment that I was glad to hear somebody finally say something like that from, officially from our staff or administration, because I felt like it just hadn't really been talked about a lot. But it was a travesty. People can say what they want, but I still feel like they changed the rules on us, versus what we'd agreed to when they went back and tested the players that had been vaccinated and ultimately kicked us out for that, which in freaking June of 2021, the fact that we were even still testing for COVID for freaking players on the baseball field is just ignorant. So I don't know. We've been talking about it a little the past few days. It really is a shame how bad that there's probably nothing in NC State sports history that has been affected as much as, I guess you could maybe look back to like the '73 basketball team that went undefeated after David Thompson's recruiting violations and went undefeated, but ultimately didn't get to play for the championship. That's kind of the way I feel, because the 2020 team was really, really good when the season got canceled. And then obviously in 2021, we had already beat the best team. We were in the winner's bracket. The freaking Pac-13 almost beat probably the number one pitcher that year in Kumar
Rocker. Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's like we're there kind of, I think, we talked about it the other night about we were going to be the Omaha kind of local fan favorites. And I think that's absolutely going to be the case. There's no real Cinderella stories this year, I would say. In Omaha, a lot of teams that have, Kentucky's never been there, but they're obviously a big brand. A lot of teams have been there a lot. I don't think there's a lot of teams that are going to have a big fan base outside of their immediate fans, their own fans, except for us. I really do think there'll be a lot of locals and the people that go to the College World Series every year, regardless of whether their team's there or not. For instance, there'll be a lot of Mississippi State fans there, right? And they just go every year. Same thing with like LSU. Has a lot of fans that go every year. I feel like some of those teams, maybe everybody except for the Vandy fans that go every year, will be pulling for us. So I'm excited to get there and experience that. And I'm just so glad that so happy for Coach Avent. if you've watched any of the interviews he's given the past few days, um, some of the little, not even the press conferences, but some of the little clips that he's done, and just how proud he is of these guys, and God, man, he's just a freaking just rock of our university. The way he talks about the people that got him and gave him that opportunity, it's like he finds a way to mention it in every interview. I was watching one, I think it was from today, with Aaron Fitt, where he even, I've never heard him bring up Herb Sendek before, but he brought up Herb Sendek today, and he said that Herb Sendek used to always tell him that you got to be careful not to oversell it. And he was talking about how great Omaha is and the whole fan experience and everything. And he was talking to his team after they had been there and got to go through practice or whatever, and went out to eat last night. And he said, did I, he asked him, he said, did I oversell it? And they were like, no way. This is way better than anybody's ever described. So just an awesome guy. I'm so happy for him to get back. And I mean, I really hope that, that outside of all of that, all the distractions that are there, that we really find a way to pull it together. Cause I still think I mean, in my mind, of course, I'm a freaking Pack homer, but I still say that we're the team to beat. I think that our bullpen is so strong. I think our team, we don't have outside of Kozart, we don't have probably the high draft picks, that a lot of other teams are going to run out there. But just top to bottom down the lineup, the way our bullpen matches up together, I'm freaking excited to get it going. So hopefully we can get it started off on the right foot.
Wesley.
Saturday at 1 a.m. No, Saturday at 1 a.m. local.
Wesley, 2021, you were there.
Yeah, I mean,
Coach A calls it a travesty. How do you really feel, Wes?
Well, Adam covered it, and I think that being there, that would definitely be one of my greatest memories as a NC State fan. And I had my nephew with me, and actually my nephew and my brother are traveling with me tomorrow morning to head back out to Omaha. But I think the most unfortunate situation about 21 was those guys were denied the chance to compete. And if you were there then, or if you've been to Omaha, you have 27,000 people there, and who knows what anyone's COVID status was in the stadium. You have an outdoor sport, and then you deny this team the chance to compete while you have 25,000 people there drinking Coors Lights, yelling. So I just think it's very unfortunate that I'm sure some committee, full of bald head dudes that are losers, for lack of better words, decided that these athletes don't have a chance to compete after they've devoted their entire athletic careers to that very moment. Every workout they've had their entire lives, every hitting coach, every pitching coach, their entire lives is taken away by again some committee that decided at midnight that they weren't allowed because of their health status, which is what a joke. So that's how I feel there. And I think talking about Coach Avent, and for him to have that taken away from him as well, and to be at this partner's career and have a chance to go back is just really special for him, without question.
Yeah, not to belabor it much more, but yeah, I mean, probably as upset as I've ever been. I was disappointed in everyone from the NCAA to even folks within our own university. In another career, I was an athletic director at one time. I know all the politics of it. I think we all know all the politics of it, and we know as a college administration and nationally and politically what was going on with it. But our kids, they deserve better than that. And I think, hell, there was even dissension in our own fan base pointing at our kids, about whether or not they should have been vaccinated and this and that. I think we all know now. I think, hindsight's 2020, but we'd have done a lot of things differently. And it's just sickening and disheartening that we took kids who were in peak physical condition, Division I college athletes, let, like Wesley's point, 25,000 people into each ball game, probably over 150, 200,000 different people walked in and out of that stadium. The NCAA was more than happy to take the ticket money of everybody in that stadium without asking for their vaccination status. More than willing to take the money and let them get right up on the field and get pictures and autographs with players. And then when some asymptomatic student athletes at NC State come down with the coronavirus, had the sniffles, kicked us out of the College World Series in the middle of the night, and couldn't have done it in a more cowardly way. I think we've all seen that picture if you're an NC State baseball fan of that team standing on home plate at 2 a.m. As upset as it makes me just talking about it.
Yeah.
Coach Avent now, who's, I believe, 68 years old. And this, I know that he knows how hard it is to get to Omaha as long as he's been doing it. And he's been there 3 times as a head coach, and whether as sad as it'll be for all of us, he's in the twilight of his career, and there's no guarantees that you get to come back again next year. And I'm sure Coach Avent doesn't know how many more opportunities he's going to get to go play there. So I think Wolfpack Nation is squarely behind Coach Avent, who, as Adam said, is a pillar of our institution, and he's everything red and white. Just really hope we can get it done out there. I got my natty light tonight. Got my natty, hoping that 10 days from now we have a natty in college baseball. It'd make me so happy. So let's talk about how we're going to have to get there. Our game 1 opponent is going to be the Kentucky Wildcats, who have never been to the College World Series. I guess if you're an outsider, especially if you went back a decade ago or so, a lot of people would say, we're a Tobacco Road team with multiple national championships in college basketball. Kentucky is 100% a basketball school in a football and baseball conference, but they have a really good baseball team, no doubt about it. How do you guys think we match up with the Kentucky Wildcats? And before I hand it off to y'all, I'm gonna give you. I make a little sheet every year when we get into the playoffs, game by game. I'm just going to point out a couple of glaring statistics about Kentucky, and I'll kind of give you where the Wolfpack compare to them on that. So Kentucky's hitting 287 as a team. We're hitting 290. I'm not going to read off all of these, but some of the glaring things: Kentucky has stolen 118 backs. We've stolen 44. So they're a super aggressive team on the base pass. They have struck out 463 times compared to our 384. But they hit a lot of doubles, not a lot of home runs. They've hit 84 home runs to our 99, but they've hit 128 doubles. Not quite as patient at the plate as we are. But another crazy stat that I picked up on is they have been hit by pitch 115 times. Now, if you watch a college baseball game, it's pretty common. I feel like that 1-a-game average has about become the norm with guys who are not professional pitchers trying to pitch inside. But they've been hit 115 times. We've been hit 59 times, and so
we've been hit exactly 1 time per game. We
Yeah.
played 59 games.
So they're very opportunistic in how they get traffic on the bases. They don't rely on hitting it out of the ballpark, but they run like crazy when they get on the bases. I mean, to steal 118 bases in any conference is pretty astounding, but to do it in the SEC where there's some quality catchers and pitchers and middle infielders that allow all that to happen that's a big number. 79% on stolen bases. As a pitching staff, very similar to us. They do have a 4.95 ERA compared to our 6.09. But if you look at walks and strikeouts and home base percentage, we're pretty close. It's kind of almost a push when you take away the ERA stat, and I think that if you look at our earn run average over the last 2 months or so, it's done nothing but gone down as the farther we've gotten to the season. We have pitched better and better. So Kentucky Wildcats, I'm going to let you boys talk about them a little bit now. I think we're probably going to see Mr. Poozer on Saturday. That would be my guess. We'll start with you, Wes.
Yeah, I mean, you hit the main topics, but they seem to play more small ball than your normal SEC team. They're not going to come in and try to barrel you out of the ballpark like we would have had last week in Athens. Um, like you covered on the base pass. Um, I think that it's going to be a really good matchup between us and them. I don't think we're that dissimilar when you look at the two teams. I think it's probably uh, the way the ballpark plays. It's a big ballpark. Certainly not gonna be anything like we've seen last week in Athens and Wake Forest and a few other stadiums that we play. The ballpark's going to keep most everything in play, and I haven't had a whole lot of time to break down a whole lot of stats, but I feel pretty confident that we can go out and win that game.
Adam?
Yeah, I was just looking through. I mean, you look at their overall record. They're 45-14. They're 22-8 in SEC play, which seems pretty impressive, and it probably is. I mean, they were the number one overall ranked team for a while this season. But just kind of diving into their schedule a little bit, they lost early on. They lost 2 out of 3 to Kennesaw State. They did sweep Georgia in Lexington. They lost 1 at Missouri. They swept Ole Miss. They swept Alabama in Lexington. They swept Auburn at Auburn. They lost 2 out of 3 to Tennessee at home. And they late in the season they lost 2 out of 3 at South Carolina and got thumped one of those games at South Carolina. And then kind of to close out, they actually their last 2 series, they won 2 out of 3 versus Arkansas at home, and then they won 2 out of 3 at Gainesville. Actually, I'm wrong. They did have one more SEC series. They won 2 out of 3 at home versus Vandy. So, and then in the SEC tournament, they lost 11-0 to LSU. They did come back and beat Arkansas 9-6, and then they got eliminated by South Carolina 6-5. So, I mean, their SEC schedule certainly doesn't match up to maybe like Florida's schedule. But then in their regional, they had Western Michigan. They beat them game 1 of the regional 10-8, and then they played Illinois. They beat them 6-1, and then I guess what was the number? The probably would have been what Indiana State would have been probably the second highest ranked number 2 seed, I guess. I mean, yeah. And they beat them 5-0, and then they beat Oregon State the first game 10-0 in the Super, and then 3-2 to close out and clinch to Omaha until they run into the Wolfpack buzzsaw on Saturday. So, yeah, I think they're. You mentioned their pitcher Cal. He's been good. He's 7-1, 3.46 ERA. Started 12 games. Strikes guys out, I guess, at a decent clip. Not quite 1 an inning though, but doesn't walk a lot of guys. But he's a righty, and I guess their top 2 guys are righties, and so and we've had a lot more success. One of you guys shared a stat in the last couple of days that was showing the rankings of kind of the major categories for all 8 teams in the College World Series. And NC State's OPS, on base plus slugging, versus left-handed pitchers is 200 points lower than versus righties. And that's just mind-boggling. I don't remember the spread for the other teams, but it was like 20 or 30 points, maybe 40 points. it was just a huge difference versus left-handed pitching. Obviously, we're a left-handed heavy lineup, so the fact that their top two guys are righties makes me feel a little better about it. So yeah, I really am confident. I mean, I think we'll hold our own.
Yeah, if Kentucky wants to get brave and start a lefty against us, they're going to basically have to throw their third best pitcher. Poozer is a College of Charleston transfer. I think he pitched 3 or 4 years for the College of Charleston before coming to Kentucky this year. One interesting thing about Mr. Poozer is he has not given up but one earned run in his last 3 starts, and that was against Illinois in the regional. He did, I think, the other night against Oregon State. He threw 7 shutout innings. But, he has had some starts where he's gotten in some trouble. You got to go back a while to find where he didn't make it through 5 innings. But if you go back to April 11th, it looks like Auburn chased him in 3 innings earlier this year in some relief. He was in relief. So he's a guy that's kind of moved into a starter role. But I think when you put us in a big ballpark with the kind of athletic guys we have, the style of baseball we like to play, we hit a lot of home runs, but a lot of those are just, quite honestly, it's Garrett Pennington and AMAC who've almost hit, and Jacob Kozar, who the 3 collectively have hit over half of our home runs as a baseball team. Once you get past those big 3, and then, Serrano's almost to double digits now. But once you get past the top of the lineup, 5 through 9, we like to do a lot of different things with the baseball bat. And, I think that a right-hander who is not going to, he already does not have a reputation for striking out an absurd amount of guys, a little less than 1 inning. And we're a team that doesn't really strike out. I think he's a good matchup for us. And then I think if you look in the bullpen, their best relievers are right-handers. I think you're looking at a baseball team that has never been to Omaha. We got guys on our team, and it matters. I know I heard today that Matt Willison's not able to travel, which I'm not going to go on that tangent right now, but the NCAA letting 27 guys travel, that's just ridiculous. The guy pitched in the College World Series. He's injured, but we can't take him legally by NCAA rules. But we have a lot of guys on our team who have been to Omaha before. When you look at Sam Highfield, you look at Logan Whitaker, who I guess he didn't go to Omaha last time, but he was a part of that team. Garrett Payne, Matt Willison. We have guys on our roster that can tell guys what the Omaha experience is like. I think there's 7 total. I'm not 100% sure that's the right number, but
Stoles was there, right?
Yeah, Noah Stoles was there. Yeah. So I think when you take all that into account, and then I think any right-hander for us right now, I feel like it's a favorable matchup. And then to Wesley's point, we have a lot of fly ball pitchers, and if you hit fly balls in that ballpark, you're out. I think that last year I saw a stat that Florida and LSU, who obviously are big bashing baseball teams, there was I think a record number of home runs hit last year at Schwab, but they hit 2/3 of them. Just those 2 teams did. So Kentucky is not known for hitting home runs. They're known for hitting the ball in gaps and running the bases well. And they got a couple guys that can hit out of the ballpark, but that is not their bread and butter. So I personally think as good a baseball team as Kentucky is, that it's a good matchup for us. I'm excited about the opportunity. I remember, didn't we open up with Stanford in 2021? Was it Stanford?
Stanford, yes. And Tennessee.
Yeah, we opened up with Stanford, and they put a big. They had their ace on the mound, and it was Stanford and Vandy. You mean
Vanderbilt?
Yeah, yep. But anyway, opened up with Stanford, they had their ace on the mound, and we knocked him around the yard. And I'm not saying that's what's going to happen on Saturday, but I like the way our lineup matches up with them. You look at the other 2 teams in our little bracket. So basically, how Omaha's set up, you have 4 teams on each side. We are paired with Kentucky, of course, Texas A&M, and Florida. Not going to talk about a whole lot about Texas A&M and Florida because we do not have a guaranteed matchup yet against either one of those teams. But we will briefly touch on. So Texas A&M, their best players hurt. I guess the bad part about a Texas A&M matchup for us is they are heavy left-handed on the mound. They have a lot of left-handed starters, a lot of options they can run at you from the left side. They've had some terrible injuries. We don't want to make too many excuses for injuries because we know the Wolfpack has been pretty beat up. But Shane Sadeo, who is a lefty for Texas A&M and one of their better arms, I think it was just announced yesterday that he is out for the season. Also, if you look at Braden Montgomery, I think he broke his ankle. Is that right? Anyway, had a season-ending injury. He's their best offensive player, especially from a power standpoint. Guys hit 27 home runs for him. So they're going to be coming in a little bit trying to figure out how to plug some holes. And then Florida, what do you guys take on Florida? Florida's one of the hottest teams in the country right now.
Scary. That was who I was most worried about being a 2 seed in our region in Raleigh. So I think they're scary, and we got Caglione, and I mean, there's a reason that Florida was ranked number 2 to start the season, in all the national polls. So talent's not lacking by any stretch of the imagination. They were similar to, I guess, Ole Miss, 3 or 4 years ago, where they were the last team taken in the selection, and then here they are in Omaha, which they seem to be in Omaha every year.
Yeah, I can't even remember the stat of how many times they've been in like the last 7 or 8 years, but it's pretty remarkable how common it is to see the Gators in Omaha. Me and Adam had a tough flight getting out of Florida this weekend. We're both down here working. Well, Adam lives in Florida. I'm working in Florida this week, but with the Noles and the Gators both in Omaha, the path to Omaha from the airport is not quite as easy as we would hope. I think, Wesley, you wanted to touch on that a little bit, didn't you? About how hard it is to get tickets in a hotel room in Omaha.
Yeah,
Nebraska.
well, the Wolfpack Club came through on the tickets, but I don't know. I was at work and just trying to submit it, and I don't know if I have tickets to Friday's games. I'm really kind of confused. I know I have tickets to our game on Saturday and Monday, and they're good seats. Like I said, the Wolfpack Club came through, but it is facilitating a trip to Omaha, especially when it's multiple people going, might be the most challenging sporting event out there. If you're thinking, because who went to the Final Four just a few weeks ago? It was easy. Hotel, bam, flights, bam, tickets were easy. I feel like Omaha is a little more challenging. And then, I think we just look at it from the logistics, and you say, okay, we're going to play 2 games. You got a day in between those 2 games, and if you win, do I stay 5 days, 6 days? And of course, we all have responsibilities back at home. So I think it's just the unknown of how long will you be there, as opposed to maybe a bowl game or a Final Four or an Elite Eight, where you kind of know, these are the days that we're going to be there for sure. But with that being said, once anyone who is their first time, when you get to Omaha, what a city. I've heard people say, why do they do the College World Series in Omaha, Nebraska? Well, it is a great city to do the College World Series. College World Series, the city embraces baseball. The city knows the baseball, knows the game. I can't imagine it being anywhere else, but it is not an easy place. I think I'm connecting through New York tomorrow morning, so that would be great.
I'm connected through. You got a direct flight out of Orlando?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Nice. Damn Disney World.
Yeah, if you live near Orlando, you can get anywhere direct.
The mouse brings them in.
I'm connecting through Minneapolis tomorrow afternoon. I will say, I know I speak for all 3 of us when I say that I don't take for granted that we are blessed to have the opportunity to go out and do this. I'm actually meeting my wife and kids tomorrow night in Minneapolis. They're flying out of RDU, and then we're on the same flight for Minneapolis into Omaha. But I just can't wait. I'm so excited because I've never been to Omaha. I've loved baseball it was my first love after, I guess, my mama. I'm a mama's boy for sure, but I love baseball. And to me, I could not be any more excited for myself, but also I cannot wait to see the College World Series through my 12-year-old son's eyes. He's a 12-year-old little boy and pack homer. He's a pack homer, and I tell you what, I mean, it's pretty neat to see it when you get, I remember when I was 12 years old and how much, I looked up. I would say when I was 12 years old, Chipper Jones to me was just a superhero. But to see how my son, when we go to the dope, how he interacts with the players, and I will say this too, and that speaks highly of Coach Avent, how our players treat my kids when we're amongst them after ball games has been pretty cool. But my son, he knows everybody on the team, and can't wait to get there. And I'm as excited as I am to see Omaha through my eyes. I'm really excited to have that opportunity with my son this weekend. So really looking forward to that. Before we close it down, and we hope to broadcast live from Omaha. I'm packing my equipment. I don't know if Rocco's will let us broadcast live from there. Maybe we can get some celebrity guests. I don't know. I'm sure we could probably draft some people to join us. I don't know if it would be in the best. I don't know if it'd be the best decision making for anyone who would decide to join us at Rocco's to broadcast. But we are going to do our part to help the pack. If anybody wants to send in any donations so that we can get some Jello shots in your honor, we'll give them out to a deserving Pack fan, and up our count. We'll be game for that. But hoping to broadcast live from Omaha at least one time. Maybe we'll be there a whole week. Who knows? But before we leave, I did want to talk about the other side of the College World Series. The other 4 teams there. Obviously, the Carolina Tar Heels are there. Tennessee Volunteers, and then they had the Virginia Cavaliers, and I think Virginia was actually dead last today in the at Rocco's already. They're already playing from behind. And who's the 8th team that's eluding me? There's another. Oh, Florida State. I'm sorry, I've already mentioned them. So on that side, who do you guys like to come out of that side? I mean, we'll make some early predictions.
I think the opening game, the night game with Arnold against Tennessee, he's probably the best arm left in the World Series, and then Tennessee back. So I think that's intriguing. I think a frustrating thing for me is I don't know if you guys listen to the D1 ACC baseball podcast, but those guys are all over Carolina, and they're talking about how Carolina looks. Hell, they almost lost to Long Beach State. They were damn
Long Island.
I mean, yeah, Long Island. They almost lost to those guys, and then freaking West Virginia. So I really, back to being a Pack homer, I guess that's where. But I don't get where the national media is going with that. So I don't know, man. I think the Florida State's gonna, pitch a good game against Tennessee, but it'd be hard to pick against those guys right now, just based on their whole body of work throughout the entire season.
Tennessee does look strong to me. I mean, like I said, I wouldn't mind playing. I wouldn't mind playing Carolina in the championship. I think it would make it that much sweeter. Would be just an awesome story. But yeah, I think Tennessee's going to be pretty hard to beat. I do. I pull for Florida State over Tennessee, but just because Tennessee fans, my gosh, man, they're just the worst. We got that coming up in September. We're going to have to deal with, I know, but those Tennessee football fans in Atlanta a few years back, that was they gave me all the experience I needed with them. So, yeah, but they're going to be hard. They're a good team. They're a good team. I think I would have to say that the favorite for me would be Tennessee, but I'll be pulling for Florida State to come out of that side.
And if it ain't Tennessee that comes out of that side, I mean, it's hard for us to be very scared. We beat UNC 2 out of 3. We beat Carolina 2 out of 3, and then we had Tarpgate in Tallahassee when we split. Virginia. We beat Virginia 2 out of 3. In Tallahassee, we had Tarpgate, and then we beat Carolina 2 out of 3. Tennessee, I will say, when I watched them on TV the other night, I have never seen so many home runs in my life hit in a short period of time. I guess the lucky thing about playing Tennessee, if we were to get the opportunity to play them in Omaha, 1, it'd be for a national championship, and 2, that's a really big ballpark. So maybe that would pose some challenges, because when them guys hit it in the air. I swear to you. Who did they play the other night in the Super? Oh, they played Evansville.
Evansville. Yeah, number 4.
Not to take anything away from Evansville, but every ball that they hit in the air, I felt like left the ballpark. It was nauseating how many home runs they hit in a short period of time. So, yeah, I think hard to pick against Tennessee. I'd agree with that. It is kind of ironic, I guess, that we get there and we are matched up with 3 teams that we haven't played, while on the other side of the bracket it is 3 teams. 3 of the 4 teams we have played, and 2 of the 3 we beat in series and split with 1. So it'll be interesting to see how that turns out. Who do you guys think is going to win the Florida and Texas A&M game 1?
I don't know. I watched Texas A&M play. I guess that was that was a home game, kind of late in the year. I can't remember who it was against. God, their stadium is so awesome though. But they just didn't wow me just watching them. It was like I was watching our game or something, and it wrapped up, and I clicked over to watch A&M play somebody. Oh, maybe it was Arkansas. Maybe it was Arkansas. Maybe that was when Smith was pitching at A&M, I want to say. But anyway, they just didn't wow me, I didn't think. But again, that was a small sample size. I mean, obviously they got a pretty stacked team. You mentioned the Montgomery, who's out, that's got 27 home runs. They got another guy that's got 28. So I mean, they obviously got a good
a formidable lineup. They like to strike out a lot, but they like to hit it out. They like to, as I say, elevate and celebrate.
Yeah, like you said, I mean, Charles Schwab Field, whatever you call it, is a little different animal. So that won't be quite the benefit that it has been playing, especially if they've had many games in Athens. My God, what a tiny little place that is. But yeah, I think I don't know. I mean, Florida's so hot. I mean, we know they got the Jimmies and the Joes. They recruit
that, and that ballpark is not too big for Cags. It is not too big for him.
Not too big for Cags, and that's the reason why I kind of hope that I guess I would kind of hope that Texas A&M would win, because if they were to pitch Cags game 2, obviously a pretty dominant lefty, I feel like he would be who we would face. So I don't know. I guess I would probably selfishly. And another reason though, like, and I, I've been coming to Florida a lot. I generally support the ag schools, right? I support the land grants, and when I first started traveling to Florida a lot, I know a lot of Gator fans, and I don't remember what year this was. Was that in 2012 maybe, when we played in the Supers in Gainesville? I'm thinking that it was. Rodon was pitching. There was a long rain delay, and Rodon couldn't come back from the rain delay. But during that game, there was pretty good state attendance there, and the state fans. State. I want to say we were up, or we were maybe up a little bit early, maybe 1 or 2 runs. I really don't remember. Obviously, we lost the series, but the state fans were chanting "Wolf Pack, Wolf Pack," and the damn Gator fans started chanting "Tar Heels."
Oh gosh!
Because they don't have I guess they don't have a 2-syllable name to chant, like Wolfpack or Tar Heels. To drown us out, the Gators started chanting Tar Heels, and at that time, I actually had a Florida shirt, a Gator shirt that I would wear occasionally, like when I was down here or something, and I immediately got rid of it. And I was like, I'll never pull for them again. And that year, and I don't like Georgia. Never been a Georgia fan. And that year, I think it was that same year, I went to my first Georgia-Florida game and was like all in on pulling for Georgia, because after the Gators pulled that little stunt. So I had forgotten about that a little bit, but now that's kind of got me fired up again. So I'm all in on the Aggies. I'm gonna be all in on the Aggies. So
Wesley,
Yeah, all in on the Aggies. Give me a Monday matchup with two Ag schools all day, every day.
Yeah, and it looks like no matter what, we're probably going to see a lefty in game two. So if we whether we win or lose, we're probably going to see a lefty in game two. I don't know that I have a huge preference. Either way, I will say Florida's red hot. Before we all go, I do think we have it's unanimous among this podcast crew here that if we do not bring the trophy back from Omaha, we do not want the trophy to come to North Carolina. Is that safe to say?
Absolutely.
That's very safe to say.
I saw that discussed on some of the Wolfpack boards today. Are you pulling for the ACC?
No.
I really don't care.
No.
I think maybe Florida State's the only team I would pull for.
Not even Virginia.
Yeah, I'm not pulling for Virginia. I don't have any love lost. I ain't lost anything in Charlottesville. I think JT Jarrett, who JT was one of the first friends of the pod. Believe it or not, JT Jarrett was one of the first people to follow Pack Homer podcast on X.
He was one of the first 5 people outside of the 3 of us.
No doubt. So you can be like the 225th. The choice is yours to follow us on X and Instagram. But JT's father, of course, is the head coach at Florida State. Still not happy about Tarpgate. I'm going to tell JT that when I see him again in person. But I do not want the trophy to come back to the Triangle if it didn't go into Raleigh. Really looking forward to that. Looking forward to talking to you guys again sometime this weekend in Omaha. Again, very blessed and thankful for the opportunity. Appreciate everybody that's tuned in all year. And we ain't but a few wins away from doing something very special. Looking forward to it.
And, and let's say too, Cal, I forgot. We got a lot of awesome. Apologize for not getting back there.
Oh yeah.
We got a lot of really nice. We got a lot of really nice emails the last couple of weeks, and I don't have it set up like on my phone, and I didn't really get notified when we had new emails. But we got a lot of cool messages. Got some people that said they've listened to every pod, and that they appreciate us doing it. And we got a couple nice DMs back from some of the guys on the team saying the same thing. So that's pretty cool. So that's not obviously what we do it for. We do it because we enjoy it, but it still is cool. It makes it fun.
Absolutely. I think we're the first people to do it, to say, hey, we're just going to talk about NC State baseball. I think we might be the only people that do it. It's been a lot of fun for us. So I look forward to doing it for another couple weeks. Look forward to talking to you next time, live from Omaha. Go Pack.